Welcome to my channel, where there are interesting and equally sensational stories. Listen to today's story. When you keep sweeping things under the rug, eventually, you're going to trip from the mess you've made. Today on our space, we do some sweeping. Our first op found some major dust bunnies. Beyonce cheated right before Bachelor Bachelor at Trip, 7 years. Hi, all. I used to see this subject referenced, but I never visited it because I never thought I'd find myself needing to. I'm an idiot, but I'm here now. After a 7-year relationship that I thought was rock solid, she cheated on me. We're a long distance and about to start our bachelorette trip, which many of our friends had committed to. I had been looking forward to this trip for over a year. Unlike a traditional bachelorette outing, we simply planned a fun trip where we do everything together with friends. The wedding itself had been difficult to plan out. So up until a few weeks ago, we were discussing doing a courthouse wedding right at the start of the trip. In that case, it would essentially be a wedding celebration. I was so excited to finally marry her. Less than a month ago, she started behaving strangely. I ignored it for a bit, but started bugging her a couple weeks ago. What's this disconnect? What is this detachment? Is there something we should talk about? She is in grad school, and I understood how stressful that is. I wanted to know what was going on and if I could help. Suddenly, she tells me she isn't sure about getting married right away. Mentions a break. She used to regularly mock the idea of people taking breaks and relationships. This about-face confused the hell out of me. It made me a little suspicious. She then started listing problems with me. Most of them, I perceived as relatively minor. Oh, did you cheat? No answer. Just telling me she needs to figure herself out. Did you cheat though? Please let me know. More strange, distracting words. Hey, why are you not answering my question? Did you cheat? I have. That hurt. But what came after was worse. She showed no remorse. Brings up weird rationalization after weird rationalization to explain that I am just as responsible as her. She never says, I messed up. It's always, I was unhappy because of you and something happened. She was very vague. I got some details from her, and she insists it's just one person, but she returned to him 3 times. It all started last month in May. Exactly around the time I noticed her behavior changing. Her plan was to go on a week-and-a-half-long bachelor of that trip and tell me about the cheating during it. Can you believe that? Says that was her plan. I think it's more likely she was going to hide it. Find another excuse to eventually break up with me after the fun trip with our friends, and keep it secret that she cheated. I'm glad I got it out of her when I did, but at this point, I think she isn't telling me the whole truth and that she likely cheated in the past. You see, she ended up explaining that she loves being doted on. I already knew that. She flirts with guys that she doesn't even like just to get them to give her attention. She implies that it was inevitable that she would cheat since I hadn't paid attention to her unhappiness. I'll point out that a couple months ago, I decided I was leaving my current job and moving back to her specifically because the distance was hurting us. I had already committed to fixing that situation, and she seemed psyched about it at the time. But now, she's telling me that she's a very sexual person, and she probably can't be in a monogamous relationship. At the time, she'll say she hoped we could come to some compromise and continue with the relationship. Delusional. It's messy. I'm upset. Try to get more details and understand why, but her lack of remorse is devastating in a way that I never could have expected. I needed her to acknowledge that she did something wrong, but that admission never came. Now, she doesn't want to talk for a bit because she claims she is angry with me and needs to calm down. She thinks she is a victim. I'm going on the trip with my friends, her and her friends are not. I leave in a few days. Everything about this is heartbreaking, and I'm so lucky I have incredible friends. I don't know what else to say other than I didn't know how damaging this kind of experience was until now. The psychological effects are crazy. I just want it to be over now. Our first commentary comes from Ethan V. I hate to say it, but it's pretty clear it's over. You're never going to get the full truth. A genuine remorse and shall always be the victim. I've known many of these men, women who crave external validation. They can't be loyal, never happy, and they are destructive to others. I've never seen any of them change, and I'm in my mid-40s now. She did you a favor showing her true self before you got married and had kids. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but trust me, it's a blessing. Separate any joint accounts, leases, and anything that ties you to her. You need to block her on everything and stay away from her at all costs in order to heal. A loyal, loving guy is a valuable spouse, and you will find someone who values you. You deserve to be loved. Tell everyone that she cheated, as she's likely to get a narrative out that paints you as the bad guy. It's common to your behavior, so she can be the victim. It's the least you can do to protect other guys from getting involved with her romantically. Then ghost her. Hit the gym, take up some new hobbies, and lean on your loyal family and friends for support. You are no reflection on her broken personality or life choices. You will get through this, mate. Sending you hugs. DOP replies. Thanks. I really appreciate it. It could be worse, and I am thankful I got this out of her before the trip or the wedding/marriage. Update. Hi, all. I've got some new information and a response to common comments on my original post. First, her tone towards me shifted considerably. While she wasn't apologetic before, she suddenly became much more aggressive, and it hurt me a lot. That pain will be there for a while. She turned me into some kind of a monster in her mind, essentially telling me I was a terrible partner, and she was irreparably harmed by me. It hurts so badly because I had spent so much time looking through our messages over the past year and observed how kind and supportive I had been during that time. She was telling me I always made her feel small, and she hates that she cares for me so much. Second, she lied about how long the cheating had been going on. That part may have seemed obvious, but I did want to believe that it was only a very recent thing. Panic about getting married in sabotage. Right? But, no, as I suspected, after reflection, she clearly had plenty of shady things happening before I even noticed something was wrong. I verified this by looking at text log. The most painful was that she had been texting with one person nonstop right before we met up in another state for a few days. She stopped entirely during the time we were together. Then sent an image message after I dropped her off at the airport. Seeing that and looking at them loving messages we had been sending each other during that time is going to haunt me for a long time. And the icing on the cake is that she still went on the trip that we had agreed she would not go on. I checked with her ahead of time to make sure she wasn't, as I wanted to change my own plans to not be in the same city as her. She said that she was not going. Then my brother ran into her at the airport on the way home. It was quite a gut punch that she lied so easily about this. And all of a sudden, I couldn't enjoy memories of the trip because I knew she was nearby the entire time. As for all those people that kept bringing up narcissism, that's simply not the case here. I've got plenty of experience dealing with narcissists, and she's not one. While she definitely lacks empathy, she hardly checks any of the other boxes. I think this is a pretty straightforward, empty person that craves attention and lies without hesitation. And she's been going through hell in grad school. The community responds back. First, from Frontlion, 5098. OP, best thing about your story is she is your fiancée, not your wife. So you can let her go or marry her and enjoy the life that I think she will give you. Betrayal. Next comment from Pahor. It should say ex-fiancé and title. She is not one bit remorseful and enjoys blaming you instead of being ashamed. Go no contact and block her. Oh Paige, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Unfortunately, from reading this, it sounds like she wasn't invested in you or your relationship for some time. Sometimes when a wayward spouse's cheating is found out, a common thing they will do is attempt to frame themselves as the victim of a betrayed spouse. When they frame themselves as the victim, they often hope to do the following. They hope to remove themselves from being accountable for their behavior. They hope to frame themselves as a victim in order to save their reputation in the eyes of others and in their own eyes. And they hope to keep living life as if nothing happened. These strategies are meant to shut down dialogue about the affair so they can more easily sweep their actions under the carpet. Most of all, these strategies are meant to help them avoid any consequences of their behavior. When a cheater plays the victim, the number one thing that I recommend doing is reminding them of their choice to have an affair. The fact that they chose to commit adultery is something that speaks for itself. It is a concrete act. It is a fact. It is an event that cannot be undone, and it is an event that will not go away if you ignore Hopi. What are your thoughts? Up next, the skeletons in this ops closet are taking over. The consequences of rug sweeping. Hello, all. Just wanted to share my story and maybe get some advice. My wife, female 49, and I, male 49, have been married for 20 years. When we first met, we had so many things in common. We loved to read. We liked the same types of movies, and we both liked to cook. I loved her deeply, and we had incredible chemistry, except in one area, the bedroom. I have suffered from PE, from a young age, and although we tried to work through it together, did put a strain on both of us. Consequently, as time went on, our sex life suffered. I guess I should have taken it as a warning when my wife early on in our dating told me that she had cheated on every boyfriend she ever had. Instead, I chose to ignore that comment, thinking I was somehow special because she had never gone and married any of those other men. I couldn't have been more wrong. About 4 years into our marriage, my wife began working with a new male colleague, from everything she told me. He was quite the ladies' man. I met him a few times, and he seemed to be a very nice guy. Good-looking, great personality, he was married with kids, and I feared nothing because they seemed to be a happy family. One thing that I did take note of was that my wife spoke often about him. She seemed in some way to have a bit of a crush on him. Over the years, they grew closer as work colleagues, and we all, him and his wife, along with me and my wife, even took a vacation together. Soon after this trip, however, my wife let me know that he had affairs with several women at their workplace, many of whom were married. It was not long after these revelations that his wife found out and promptly divorced him. My wife became his shoulder to cry on. She began spending evenings alone with him at his home, just talking and drinking wine. I was aware that she was probably having sex with him, but I really didn't want to know the truth. We argued about her going over there, and she would gaslight me. "You're crazy. We are just really great friends. His kids are over there too. We were just talking, but I really didn't want to know the details." I was seriously considering leaving her at this point, but we had built so much together. A home, our bank accounts, our business, and our investments. I simply didn't want to rock the boat. Stupid. I know. Over time, her relationship with him wore out for reasons I'm not clear about, but really didn't care to know. Eventually, he left the company. Life somewhat got back to normal as I drowned out all my feelings and put out a happy face. When the thoughts of them together rolled through my mind, I would rationalize it. I didn't last long enough, and she's probably starved for sex. He is probably much better in bed than I am. Can I really expect her to go through her life dealing with my PE? These were, and still are, sickening thoughts to me. Why I try to rationalize this is beyond me. Things got back to normal, but our sex life was still horrible. We would only have sex maybe once per month or so. Time went on, and my wife got a new job that she really enjoyed. And in a couple of years, I began to see the old familiar signs. Her staying at work late, leaving the house in the mornings really early, going off her drinks with friends after work. To make a long story short, I found out she was involved with 2 men at different times from her new workplace. She did admit that she may have been having emotional affairs with these men. I told her I needed her to stop this behavior or that we should just divorce. She immediately said she would stop and that she would do anything to save our marriage. Then it happened again. This time, however, it was with a big wig at her company. I was totally in the dark on this until she had to confess to me. Apparently, The other betrayed spouse found their text messages in affair partner's phone. Other betrayed spouse was threatening to tell me about it, so my wife confessed and offered to give me the printout of the text messages, but she begged me not to read it. And I didn't. Again, I let it go to keep the peace. Since that time, which was about 10 years ago now, I haven't seen any signs of her cheating. Things have been okay. I say, okay, because we get along well and have learned how to live together successfully. But the thing is, I don't really love her the same way anymore. Yes. I forgave her indiscretions. Yes. I swept most of it under the rug to save what we built and to protect myself emotionally. But what that has done is taken away the love I've felt for her. We rarely have sex now, but we do get along well. Some things in my life have come up now that have me remembering a lot of this and is bothering me greatly. So much so that for the first time ever, I'm considering divorce. But who divorces someone 10 years after the incidents? I'm hopeless and lost at this point, but in some ways, I feel I brought this all on myself. Thank you for listening. Our advice comes from Frontline 5098. You are only 49. Man. Who divorces 10 years later? You do. Go find someone that makes you happy. Man. She is a serial cheater. It would not surprise me if she is still cheating only underground. I mean, zero consequences to her. Why would she stop? Dude, get out of this. Think about what she said. She said, I will stop. But she didn't. Make this right with you. Go find love. Next piece of advice from Fid Acadia 874. You didn't read the texts. Yikes, because you would have found out it wasn't an emotional affair. Yikes, my man. You need therapy if you haven't already. People divorce after 4 years ended the relationship. It's okay. You don't have to beat yourself over it. You tried peace, over accepting, and holding her accountable. Bro, she never faced any of the consequences. You just let her have her affairs while you were put on the back burner. Man, I'm sorry, but it sounds like y'all been co-parenting and have become roommates. Best of luck, mate, with whatever you decided because, honestly, I think you deserve better. You've put up with her burden for far too long. Turs for 78 chimes in with our last comment. What a sad way to live life. Not sure why you're so intent on setting yourself on fire to keep her warm. You have serious codependency issues. Read. No, we're Mr. Nice Guy. You are addicted to an unhealthy relationship that will continue to traumatize her. You can no longer blame her. She never faces any real consequences. This is your fault for letting your life get this far in a loveless, unhappy marriage, with a roommate and zero romantic feelings. Look in the mirror. Things like this are a lot more common than you think. Opie. I'm so sorry she has treated you and your relationship so carelessly in the past. You are 100% responsible for your life and the outcomes within it. You chose to date your partner. You decided how to interact with them. You made the decision to marry your spouse. These were your decisions. Your choices are your responsibility, but it doesn't mean you should blame yourself or your partner when things aren't going as they should. You just need to make a few adjustments to how you are showing up within your relationship. Your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. Only you are responsible for your happiness. If you indulgent thoughts about being in a loveless marriage, you will continually trigger yourself emotionally and therefore feel unmotivated toward the very actions that would save your marriage. Marriage is just one way to make your life happier. And that's only when it is maintained with the right intentions and actions. How do you maintain your marriage is up to you. It's your responsibility to build a strong emotional connection with your partner. And continue your efforts to enhance attraction over the lifetime of your relationship. Remember that in a marriage, you need to work together as a team. Your marriage is very important to you, so you may want to invest in professional consultation and improve the situation as soon as possible. Again, this is all if you want to stay with this relationship, but you should never sacrifice your happiness and well-being for someone else. Should op stay or go? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let us know what you thought of today's content and see you next time on our space.